Hi, and welcome back to another episode on How to Hack. So today we'll be discussing about the use of cross-site scripting to actually plan your own JavaScript. And once you have the browser exploitation script running on a legitimate site, what happens is that whenever a legitimate user, an authenticated user goes into the site, what happens is that your JavaScript will be loaded, and from there on you'll be able to do a lot more capabilities in terms of finding out what kind of client browser it is, redirection, even sending them a executable payload to gain access into their machine directly. And this is a key concern, especially in terms of cross-site scripting, which has continued to be highly malicious within many of these web application servers that are running across the internet. So without further ado, let us get started on today's tutorial. So over here, I got Kali Linux running, and we can go ahead and log into Kali Linux. So once you're logged into Kali Linux, the first thing you want to do is actually to start a browser exploitation framework so that you have a place to host the malicious hook, or malicious JavaScript hook. So we can open up terminal and you can actually go ahead and enter beef-xss. So this will be the browser exploitation framework that we'll be launching, and this is the part where we will have the management console to actually look at all the browsers who has been hooked into the JavaScript. So once it launches into Firefox or Chrome or whichever is your favorite browser, you can go ahead and log in to the browser exploitation framework management console. So once you click login, on the left side we can see all of the other devices which has been connected into the hooked JavaScript before. So for example, if I click onto this particular device, and we can see all the past values, and we can see that it was a Chrome browser, it was a window title, and where was the URI that it accessed into, it was Android phone, the IP address, and we can also click onto network tab. And in the network tab, we can actually see how are we connected, or how is the client device connecting over into the hooked browser. So again, this is a very simple way, very easy way for you to visualize how the machine's connected over. And of course, we can also look at 202.166.63.69. So again, this is coming from the internet. And again, we can see here that we were hosting a JavaScript onto loyliangyang.com. And of course, this was the browser title and so on. And we can see the other information regarding the server, regarding the client device. And we again, clicking onto network, we can see more information, host, services, and so on. So really useful tools. And of course, we can also click onto zombie. So zombies, we can actually see that these were the other domains that we were using and we're connecting over. So if you've been following the channel, you can look at the past tutorial that we've been doing and showcasing many of these key capabilities across over onto the internet because of a lot of demand, a lot of comments that come in and say that they want to know how can they do all this hacking over onto the internet. So moving forward, we also have Metasploitable 2 running, and we can enter MSF admin is the password, and enter ifconfig. So this is the web application server that we'll be targeting. So from here we can see the IP address of 192.168.1.15, and going back into the Kali Linux, we can go into 192.168.1.15, and of course we can go into Mutility, and I will reset the database because we've been doing a lot of testing prior to this tutorial so they can learn as much as possible in the cleanest, in the easiest way possible. So going into OWASP top 10, we can go into cross-site scripting, and we can go into via input get/post, and we can click add to your blog. So this is a typical text form that you see all the time, and in this text form you can see that you can insert some kind of comments into the text form. And a lot of times many of these applications are developed whether they're on mobile or on web, they are always unsanitized, so they allow the input to go through fully without checking what kind of parameters, what kind of script has been inserted into the database, into the web application server. So from here, say I enter ABC, this would actually allow us to save the block entry, and at the bottom we can actually see that we have the information and we have the comment of ABC here. And likewise, what happened is the hackers would actually use this chance to inject the script into the browser so that when other legitimate users access into the website, they will load the script, and once the script is loaded, we will get a hooked browser. So for example, going back into terminal, we can see what is the script that we can use, for example, over here. So we can copy this information and we can paste it right here. and we can actually change the IP address of the attacker machine, which is 192.168.1.23. So over here, we can actually go into terminal and we can enter ifconfig. And once we hit enter ifconfig, we can see that we got the IP address of 192.168.1.23. And once we have all this information, we can actually click save block entry, and immediately we'll be able to hijack into many other machines. So in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll launch Windows 10 to demonstrate how we can be able to hijack browsers of users coming into the site. So in this case, we can see that Windows 10 is running and booting up. So in the meantime, going back into Linux, we can click save block entry. And what happened is that when you right click and click view page source, we can actually do a Control F 192.168.1.23, and we can see that this script has been loaded successfully. And this means that we would have the hooked browser. And going back into Windows 10, we can actually look and log in into the user account. So once we log into the user account, so this could be a legitimate user going into a legitimate site. And what happened is that because they're going to a site and the site actually has a malicious JavaScript running through another site. So when I click into add to your block and I go to this site, I've loaded the JavaScript too. So going back into Linux, we can go into the left side, and this is the part where we're looking at the online browsers. So when we're looking at the online browsers, we can here on the left side see that we got a new machine coming in connected. It's a Windows, it's running on Internet Explorer, and we can see a lot more information about this particular client device. And likewise, we can go into network to see how we're serving the JavaScript onto the client device. And of course, this is the part where we can do hacking into the site, and we can go into social engineering, and we can actually use Google phishing. So Google phishing is a great tool that we can use to actually demonstrate how we can serve a Google phishing site, a phishing login page. And once we're in, this will allow us to try to get a username and password of the user account. So over here, we can see that this plugin uses an image to tag to XSRF, cross-site request forgery, on the logout button. So we can go ahead and click execute. So once it's executed, on the right side, you can see that we're automatically brought into the Google login page. So the user will enter something like loyliangyang@gmail.com followed by their password. So right now you don't know what a password is, but when I click sign in, I'll be redirected to the correct account login page. So sometimes, if you remember how you're serving the web, you get multiple times of login. So the users may not find this so suspicious. And on the going back to Linux, we can go into command number 2. And when we expand it, we can see that immediately we got the username and password directly from here. So there you're seeing it with a combination of cross-site scripting vulnerability as well as the injection of a JavaScript hook. We were able to do a lot of key capabilities against a particular client browser. And if you've been looking at the past few videos, actually, in fact, a lot of these hacking tactics can be merged together, mashed together, and you come up with a new way of actually attacking many of these IT devices and assets. So I hope you've learned something valuable in today's tutorial. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll try my best to answer any of those questions. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you can be kept abreast of the latest cybersecurity tutorial. Thank you so much once again for watching.